All right. So we're going to be going over the rock cycle again today. Do y'all remember going over it a little bit last week? Okay. Raise your hand if you can tell me some things about the rock cycle. What some of the rocks are, how they're formed. Metamorphic. You're right. And igneous. Sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous. Okay. What are some other things you can tell me about the rock cycle? Okay, that's fine. So hold up, or I'm going to hold up your KWL sheet. So get your pencil and a KWL chart. Do y'all know what that means? Do y'all know what that stands for? So the K stands for what we know. The W stands for what you want to know. And then the L stands for what we learned. Okay. So go ahead and write in the know, what we had just talked about. So we know what the rocks are. We know there's sedimentary, igneous, and there's metamorphic. And there's actually, if you look over here, it's written out for you so you can spell it. So we know there is sedimentary rock, igneous rock, and metamorphic rock. And when you're done with that, go to what we want to know. What are some things we want to know about the rocks? They're formed. We want to know how they're formed. What makes these rocks? Oh, so question? Yeah. It's broken pieces. Sedimentary rock is broken up pieces that form together to make that rock. Okay. All right, and then we'll come back to that because we will fill out what we learned at the end of our lesson. Okay. So our objectives are we are going to develop and use a marshmallow model to demonstrate the process that form rocks. And then we are going to use scientific vocabulary to describe and explain each rock type and the process in the rock cycle. Okay. Now we're going to go over our vocabulary. So we have weathering, which is breaking rocks into smaller pieces. Erosion, which is moving rock pieces from one place to another. So it's raining today, so it's moving some pieces that are going to form rocks later. And then we got compaction, which is pressing layers of rocks or sediment together. And then we got cementation, and that is sticking rock layers together to form solid rock. And then heat, which is energy that makes rocks warm or melt. And then pressure, which is a force that pushes and squeezes rocks. And then there's melting, which is rocks turning into a liquid because of the heat. It got so hot they melted. And then cooling, which is liquid rock hardening into solid rock. Sedimentary rock is rock made from layers of sediment pressed together and stuck together. Metamorphic rock is rock changed by heat and pressure without melting. And then igneous rock, which is rock formed when magma and lava cools. So we're going to watch a video on the rock cycle, and throughout the video, it's going to ask you a few questions, but you're going to be able to answer them because it's going to be in the video. So pay close attention to their open answers too.
Hi, my name is Thor Robertson. Today I'm going to be teaching you about the rock cycle. First, you need to know about the 3 different types of rocks: igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic. Each of these rocks has a unique way of forming and can even transform into one another. Now, let's start by explaining how igneous rocks form. This volcano looks like it's about to erupt. Beneath the Earth's crust is liquid magma. Magma usually travels to the Earth's surface through volcanoes. Once the liquid hot magma makes its way above ground, it cools and hardens over time into new rock. These rocks that form are what we know as igneous rocks. Sedimentary and metamorphic rocks can become igneous rocks by melting and hardening, although this is a very rare occurrence. Now, let's move on to sediment.
Right, so what is igneous rock made of? Just type it on your computer. Type it out, and we'll talk about it when everybody gives me a thumbs up to show that we're ready to move on. What is igneous rock made of? We'll start talking about it once it gets to 60%. These don't have to be paragraphs or anything. You can just put like a simple sentence. All right. So we see magma. Magma that cooled and became hard. Good. See a lot of lava that cools down and turns solid from forming more rock. Good. Igneous rock is made of broken down rocks or magma. All right, these are all correct. All right, we ready to move on? Let's see. Did everybody answer? Well, Josh answering. But yeah, so igneous is formed from lava or magma cooling down and hardening. Okay.
On to sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are easy to identify because of their name. Sedimentary rocks are composed of loose sediments, hence the name. Parts of igneous and metamorphic rocks can become sedimentary rocks through weathering, erosion, compaction, and cementation. Weathering and erosion are natural forces that cause pieces of rocks to break off into smaller sediments. This is usually caused by wind or the water. These sediments then get carried away and gather over time, as you can see here. This is called deposition. Now, compaction and cementation binds these sediments together with pressure and other earth elements, specifically water. The rocks that form are what we know as sedimentary rocks.
Okay, so what causes sedimentary rock? And I misspelled it on here, so don't do that. What causes sedimentary rock? It's a difference between sides and from the rock. You're so cute. Thank you. Can you braid it yourself? I'm not gonna braid. Okay, it's not good enough. Can you follow? Sure. Seat or top. How did I misspell that so bad? I'll have to go and fix that later. Okay, everybody's telling 60%. So let's read some of these answers. All right, broken pieces of rock and sometimes bones. Yes. Little pieces of sedimentary rocks. What causes it? When sediment falls off and erosion. Rocks going into water and combining together from pressure, hence forming a big rock in the water. Good job, Camden. Sedimentary rocks have any broken objects during or broken down objects put together and can break easily. Wind and water pushes little sediments of rock and merge together to make sedimentary rock. Good job. Yeah. So pieces of different things coming together and a bunch of pressure forming it, causing it to form a new rock. Good job, guys.
3 rocks. Finally, let's discuss metamorphic rocks. Metamorphic rocks form from a process, similarly called metamorphosis. Metamorphosis occurs when other rocks are subject to intense heat and pressure. Let's take a look. Underground.
Okay, so which rock is created from intense heat and pressure? Which rock is formed from intense heat and pressure? Okay, let's see some of these answers. I see metamorphic rocks. Yeah, you put metamorphic, you are correct. It is metamorphic rock that is formed from intense heat and pressure. I'm talking about this morning. I'm not used to it, guys. Okay, good job.
Underground, magma can find its way through porous and loose materials. When the magma can't get to the surface, it starts to change the sediments and materials that are close enough to feel its heat. The heat from the magma and the pressure from the tons of material above cause the surrounding sediments and materials to change their composition and structure. Metamorphosis usually occurs at temperatures between 300 and 700 degrees Celsius. These new rocks that form are what we know as metamorphic rock. Igneous and sedimentary rocks can go through metamorphosis if they are buried deep enough under the Earth's surface and if they are exposed to high enough temperatures. Let's get back to my office now. As you can see, rocks form in many ways, and each rock has the potential to become a different kind of rock under the right circumstances. The rock cycle has existed for as long as we can date back. Rocks have been forming and transforming for millions of years. The Earth is made of rocks, and now you know how they form. Thanks for watching. I'm Thor Robertson.
So what did they say how metamorphic is? created?
Heat and pressure.
Heat and pressure under the surface. Okay. All right. So we're gonna model rocks now. We're gonna use our mini marshmallows. I don't have sandwich bags. I also don't have warm water. We're using plastic forks. We're using wax paper instead of plates. Okay. And then what we're going to do, we have our ice cubed off and it's prepared. Y'all can put y'all's Chromebooks off to the side. Don't close them, but you can move them all into the center and just have all your stuff in front of you. And then I'm going to tell you step by step how to make each rock. And then we're going to observe the changes as you press together and layer. And then we're also going to melt. And then we're going to clean up after we finish modeling. All right, so our first rock is igneous rock, and our goal for this one is to model how rocks form from cooled magma or lava. And I don't have a way to melt our marshmallow, so instead we're going to try using this magic shell chocolate syrup. Has anybody used this? Okay, so we tried this earlier, and it didn't work the way we wanted to, but we're going to hope if we just keep on trying, maybe it'll cool down and it'll harden. So that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to harden. So this is going to act as our lava, because what is lava? How does it start out? It starts out as a hot liquid. So take your fork and kind of spread it out a little bit. Maybe that'll help with the cooling process. You know what I mean? So we'll kind of spread it out and see if it'll I'm sorry. I love that chocolate. My favorite. Let's see. Just kind of trick right. Let's try it. I need to smoke it. Just spread it out. I just want you to put it in your mouth and give it to the next person, you know. Okay. I don't like a lot more. But so when we are a lot of anyways. It's not actual toxicity. Spread it out and like cakes and to get the bigger than this. I don't need my that. I don't need one more. Just take your work and spread it out a little bit. Then holding it just back to this in a little bit, and hopefully some. Yeah, but it doesn't. Watch me, that's not okay. But oh, look at mom. Okay, so like, check out what's on it. I went to the okay, so a little bit. Actually, so hard. Just little blocks. Yeah. I don't know. I swear to God, I'll get over there. So if it doesn't work for y'all, that's okay. Maybe it'll work in a little bit, like as we go on through the lesson, and we can come back with it. So basically, that is supposed to turn into a hard rock like lava, how it cools down, and it should be able to break apart kind of into more rocks. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Now we're going to do sedimentary rocks, and this one is supposed to show how layers of sediments are packed together from sedimentary rocks. So we're going to get a couple of our marshmallows. So take like 2 of them and put them together and just smush them together like that. Oh, okay. And then you can take a few more and just keep on layering them like that. We do it with all of them. We do it with all of them. Like I'm only doing 3. You only have to do like 3 or 4. So one more. They crack? I'm better. That's great. It looks like this. It's now a second over. So one I do. That's fun. I think it's finished flying stuff. Oh, really? I think it's my shit. All right. So that's our. So when a bunch of rock. Look at me. So in real life, when a bunch of different things come together, like bones and other little pieces of rock, like gravel, they come together and it kind of looks like this. They just form together and press into a new rock. Okay, so metamorphic rocks. So this one is going to show how rocks change when they're under heat and pressure. So let's take some of our sedimentary rock, break it apart. We're gonna rip it apart. We're gonna put half of it down. And now we're gonna take this rock, this new rock, and it's gonna crash into that one, and we're gonna crush it. Crush it with your hands. Okay, and now we're gonna move it around in our hands like this, and it's gonna cause some heat to happen. We're causing heat and pressure. It feels so bad, but it feels so raw. This is raw. And we're gonna open our hand up, and we have a rock. We got a brand new rock. So now look at me. It looks different. All right. So in real life, what happens is under the earth, a bunch of stuff is just crushed together, and it's under intense heat and pressure, so it forms a rock. And that's kind of what we did, but we're not under the earth. So that's the only difference right there. But that's our metamorphic rock. Okay. All right, so now we're going to do a little game called Time to Climb. And like Miss Reese said earlier, the winner who has the most points is going to get a prize. And so you have to pay attention, because I think I only have like 20 seconds for y'all to answer these questions. But let's see. We get to pick which like setting we're in. We got Himalaya. You want beach? Yeah. There's more over here. There's also jungle, sports, and spades. Raise your hand if you want sports. Raise your hand if you want beach. I see sports. All right, we're doing sports. You get to create a little character. Only take a few seconds on this and mess around with it. I'll let you look at it. You'll play somebody then we'll start the game. Yeah, sure. Friendly race. I mean, how do you join? Why would jump like? Like I know when first joined by one city, so I don't need. I don't need my features. I'm this is like okay, I need everybody logged in. Sign up to it. I'll take a fashion. You think yeah. Well, the stranger. Trip. Why am I turning my phone? What's that time about? About don't you if you're listening to happens. Look, hey look. Yeah, oh yeah, John. I'm like, oh, you see where y'all not here? Oh, hey, since we're finished with that, y'all can actually snack on y'all's marshmallows with what you have left. You have braces? Yeah, you probably. I still have. I do too, but I ate them. We made our chocolate. We just if you can. Here's marshmallow. That's what I did. Me, I have like marshmallow. I have left it. Wait, can we put it in our chocolate? We're gonna let Jordan get logged in, and then we're gonna start. That's what it's fun. Anywhere. You ready? All right, is everybody logged in? All right, let's start our game. Pay attention. I'm going to read the questions. All right, what is magma? A solid rock, molten rock beneath Earth's surface, or sedimentary? Or sediment, not sedimentary. I thought it took 20 seconds. That was molten rock under Earth's surface. All right, to which process forms sedimentary rocks? Cooling and solidification, heat, pressure, or compaction and sedimentation? All right, number 3. What type of rock forms when an existing rock is changed by heat and pressure? Igneous, metamorphic, or sedimentary? Which type of rock forms from when existing rock is changed by heat and pressure? Metamorphic. All right, this is our last question. What happens to rocks in the rock cycle over time? They stay the same forever, they change from one type to another, or they dissolve instantly? They can change from one type to another. Great. Let's see one. Trip. Good job, Trip. Perfect. All right. Good job, y'all. All right. So now I want you to flip your paper over to the other side. And y'all can put your computers back over to the side if y'all want. We're done with them. Flip it up. Or some CER. You should be looking at this. All right. So raise your hand if you can tell me what a CER means.
Claim evidence and reasoning.
Yep, claim evidence and reasoning. Okay. So I have some sentence starters over here on the board. And raise your hand if you can tell me your claim. What do you know about how rocks change? What would a claim be? What would you claim? Okay. Rocks change because of heat, pressure. We can claim that rocks change because of heat and pressure. Erosion. Aging. Okay, now for evidence. What happened during our marshmallow model? What happened during our marshmallow model to show us that that's true, that they change from heat and pressure? We rolled them up in our hands. We tore them apart. We know that our claim is true because we rolled them up in our hands and they. Okay, now for reasoning. How does your model represent the real rock cycle? How did our model represent the real rock cycle? What are some things that we did that happened to actual rocks to cause igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic? For sedimentary rocks, we tore them. We pushed together other rocks and caused them to form a new rock. Our magma, we can say it cools. We know it didn't, but we know it's supposed to. Maybe if I did it with ice cream, that would be fun. Maybe that'll work. Our chocolate syrup hardened, causing it to break into different pieces, just like lava. All right. When y'all are done writing that, flip it over back to our KWL chart so we can fill out our L, what we learned. Raise your hand if you can tell me some things you learned. What are some things we didn't know? Did we find out some things we wanted to know? We found out how they formed. So how did they form? How did igneous rock form?
Underground trying to get to the surface.
Yep, lava came from underground and cooled down. How did sedimentary rock form?
Sediment. and then getting all mushed up together.
Mm-hmm. From pressure. Different pieces of other things forming from pressure. How did our metamorphic rocks, how did they form? I know you want it to so bad.
Heat and pressure.
Heat and pressure. Metamorphic rocks form from intense heat and pressure. I keep wanting to go ahead into the next word. All right, good job, guys. Please put your name and class period on the paper.